2015 Plainfield Township Park District Board of Commissioners meeting is called to order at 6 p.m. Commissioner Hurtado, would you like to lead the pledge tonight?
I'll pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Here.
Here.
Hurtado. Leland. Here. Wooten.
Here.
Poland. Salosky. Here. Stevens.
Present.
Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment tonight? Nobody interested in public comment tonight, so the next item. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
At the last meeting, we had a discussion in regards to our finances and budgets and so forth, I think from Margie, in regards to overrun of attorney fees.
Yes.
Can
We highlighted
we explain a little more on that?
that a lot of that has to do with our union negotiations and our labor attorney.
Sorry?
Our labor attorney and our union negotiations, a lot of that overrun comes from.
Is there a reason for that overrun? Based on being projected?
Honestly, I can't tell you how you set your projections. I was not part of that budget process. I can tell you all of our overrun right now is just the negotiation process. So as we go back and forth with dealing with the SEIU and moving forward, that's just the hourly rate we come up with at this point.
Well, my point is, in regards to the budget, I guess, we predicted, the cost in regards to what the attorneys were presenting, in regards to your cost of dealing with the situation, and now you're talking about it's overrunning,
It is.
and what's the reason for it?
As negotiations continue on, we're just paying per negotiations, and until negotiations are done, we're paying our labor attorney moving forward.
But was that part of the agreement that?
There was no set a stipend agreement, it was just an hourly agreement that we had.
I know it up to a certain point.
No, that was not set.
We couldn't limit it.
I could have sworn it was up to a certain point.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? A motion was made that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the consent agenda as presented by Commissioner Salosky and seconded by Commissioner Hurtado.
Pierce.
Yes.
Hurtado.
Yes.
Leland.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Poland.
Yes.
Salosky.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
A couple of things that have been going on. First, I'd like to welcome Jennifer Rooks Lopez. She is our new Director of Planning and Procurement. She started with us on February 23rd. Thank you. I can throw off the wrong date. So we are glad to have her aboard as she's jumped right in and started working on the projects right where we're at. Additionally, we're working within our departments on establishing our short-term goals through visioning sessions. So far, I've worked with the Rec Department and the Parks Department. Next, we'll be doing administration, and as we line up our shortened fiscal year that will be running from July 1st through December 31st, we'll be setting our short-term goals that will be in correspondence with that budget cycle. Finally, as we move forward with the implementation of the field use and allocation agreement, as we'll be starting to execute our memorandums of understanding with the 3 affiliates. Part of that is going through and checking with them that they meet the affiliate requirement. And then additionally, as we start incorporating in those memorandums the permitted aspects and their operations and usage constraints, will also at this time for this upcoming year be continuing with our advertising and signage agreement that we had established, and also our concession license agreement to move forward, so that at the point we're at right now, they'll both be starting in the next month, or 2 of the organizations will be starting the next month, and we can evaluate these throughout the course of this year. Additionally, also looking at the agreements as we work with the different groups, we're kind of trying to be a little sensitive with them on the spring seasons, just because of the fact that we've implemented something that they haven't completely budgeted for. So we're working with them as we establish the spring, but then come fall, the agreement will be in full effect. Also then, with that being said, we do anticipate throughout the course of this year, we'll be keeping track of how the agreement is working and then doing evaluations with the affiliates and the other organizations to see if we need to bring it back next year for possible revisions, as this was a little bit different of an agreement that we've had in the past. So we are massaging through that. The only other thing that we will be doing is that next week, we've also started to establish some internal committees to work on different aspects of Park District operations, such as we're about to launch an innovation committee, appreciation and wellness committee, a capital and oversight committee as we do our capital projects internally. So we'll be hosting an open house for all staff members to come through and evaluate what committees we have available and see how they'd like to get more involved in our operation. And that's all I have unless there's any other questions.
Okay.
Um,
Next is Director of Recreation.
Sorry, Cheryl.
No, that's okay.
Zero.
We just realizing this is the first meeting we've had
Since the
light
time change.
during the day. We're finding a little bit of blinds over here now. So we apologize to the audience as well.
Jill Mukashina is here from LCSRA and will be giving you the yearly presentation that we go over as LCSRA has finished their budget year.
Oh, how are you? Good to see everyone today.
I think it's up. I'm just going to turn off the lights. There we go.
All right. So it's my pleasure to come and speak to you guys about our 2014 year. It was a good year. We moved around a little bit. We had a couple increases in numbers, a couple decreases in number. But overall, it was a really solid year, and we've gotten good feedback from our families. So I'm happy with my staff and how everything turned out. So this first picture you'll see, because pictures are fun, and this is really what we do. So I wanted you guys to see that in my presentation this year instead of just handing you paper. So we'll talk a little bit. These are our athletes that qualified for Special Olympics Summer Games. So them in their matching shirts with their medals. The other thing I want to point out, we did move into a new building. We were in a little small building. We are now in the community center over in Bolingbrook, which is great because it's very visible. There's a lot more traffic that comes through, so that was very exciting for us. You'll notice on the wall behind the group, there's a nice pretty white sign with LCSRA. Most of the building is more of that brown tone color, so it stands out really nicely. I just love that. That's very visible. So I was very excited when it came in and got put up. So what we're going to first talk about is by the numbers. We did continue to see growth and some variation in 2014. We're going to start at the end with the programs offered. We did see a decrease in programs offered. What we're trying to do is target a little bit more of those specialty programs and kind of cut those dead weight programs that haven't been running and really try to focus in on quality rather than quantity of programs. We have been growing, so we did cut down a little bit. Participations, kind of in the bright light there, it did go down from 1913 to 1631. Two main things did affect that. We did host 2 tournaments via our special recreation group, so that does add to our participation numbers, so last year did spike a little bit high. The other thing is that we did get a week of day camp cut off because the Plainfield School District cut when we could be in the building too. So that did affect our participation just a little bit with those numbers as well. But as you see in the first column for unique households, we went up from 2013 up to 231 unique households. So we did have a little bit of growth in new users and more people knowing about our services and using them. So that was really, really great. Looking at the next page, it's pretty much the same information that we just went over, just in a graph form, just so you can visually see those numbers and then the increase and decrease in it. Sometimes that's a little bit easier. The other fun thing to note with numbers, we did start a Facebook page last year and have 231 likes, which I think is kind of fun. It kind of matches our household numbers. So the next thing that we're looking at is inclusion. And I know this has been a topic that we have discussed and gone over. So looking again in 2014, Bolingbrook went up to 160 placements. Plainfield went up to 130 from 72 placements, which is an 81% increase. So a lot of this is in the summer where we see day camps and a lot more of those recreation programs. So my staff and our part-time staff are really running around busy, trying to make sure those kids are having the best experience in the Park District program with whatever support they need. Whether it's a staff, accommodations to the program so they can participate, or just us going in and retraining the Park District program staff to give them transition warnings and those little things that help make their experience successful. Overall, we went up to 290, which was a 33% overall growth. So inclusion is still on the radar. Again, a good visual, dark blue being Bolingbrook placements, light blue being Plainfield placements, and the yellow being the combined. So we definitely see a steady trend up, and we expect that to continue. Bolingbrook is kind of plateauing a little bit. I suspect that Plainfield will go up again next summer a little bit to keep us busy. But it is a great service that we offer. Looking at budget numbers, our revenue budget was just over $1 million at $1,080,000. Our actual that we brought in was $1,078,000. However, I will say that that number reflects $9,400 that was moved to our scholarship and a fundraising account to be spent this year. Scholarship is a rollover account, so every year that money is moved out. So really, we were just over the $1,080,000. So we did hit that mark. Expenses came in at $1,067,000. Actual came in at $1,023,000. So we did come under budget on quite a few areas, which was good. The places where we did come over: fuel for our vehicles. A lot of our programs, 85% of our programs at least are off-site. We do a lot of transportation, so fuel is a cost for us. So that one with the fluctuating costs, we try to budget high on what it would be, but that's one I haven't really gotten good at projecting or guesstimating, but we're close. Day camp expenses, day camp wages, part-time wages are the couple categories that are over. Staffing is one of our biggest expenses, whether it's one-on-ones or more small groups that are needed with extra staff. So that's really where we see our costs. About 60% of our expenses is staffing costs, full-time, part-time, inclusion aid. So bottom line, we were budgeted for a $12,800 surplus. We ended up with $47,797, so not too bad. A few highlights for you. We did move over to the other building. We did get some new offices for the full-time staff, which is nice to have a working area. This is actually the program room that's also in the community center that's dedicated to our adult day program, which we're really excited to give them a home. When we started the program, they just kind of moved through the community. They'd come to Plainfield, they'd go to Bolingbrook for a day at one of the facilities. So there's actually a dedicated room for the program, which is great. It is a multi-purpose room. If you can see on the left side of the picture, there's a panel of mirrors. This was a little section that was pulled out of one of the fitness centers. So the mirrors are actually really nice to have. We do host our fitness programs as well as the Special Olympic rhythmic gymnastic team practices in there. So it's nice to have. There's cabinets and counter on the back. We store supplies. It's a working area. And then there's tables and chairs, obviously, that get put up and taken down for programs so that it can be that multi-purpose, versatile unit. But we're very excited about it. This is the home of our Saturday autism programs that we offer. We offer a series of 3 back-to-back programs. So they found a lot of use out of it, and it's a great space. So we're glad that that's there. And we actually just got put in between the little window and the cabinets, a nice 65-inch TV, so that'll be nice for our programs, whether they're watching movies, exploring through the internet. They can throw through routines for Special Olympic to watch what they need to do, then go and learn how to do it. So we're very excited about that new feature in the room too. Highlights: Sherry Isban, one of my full-time staff. She coached the Special Olympic Team Illinois last year in June. She was the head track and field coach. Carrie Gascoigne, she's our one that supervises inclusion, so you might hear her name a little bit more if you're looking at some of the inclusion stuff. She presented at the Illinois Recreational Therapy Association conference about inclusion last November. ILRTA is more of a clinical organization that supports rec therapy. There's the community, which is what we do. We support rec services and work on that fun and the social skill building. This organization does a little bit more work out of the nursing homes and the hospitals with rehabilitation and using recreation as a therapy to get well. So there's a little bit of 2 tracks with the field of therapeutic recreation. This one obviously doesn't see as much inclusion because they're on the rehab end of it. Typically when their clients are done with rehab, they can come to us and use our services, depending on what they're looking for. So it was really awesome that she got to do that. We were very blessed. Senator Pat McGuire not only came to our fundraiser last summer, but he did come out to speak with me about what we do, who we are. One of my parents was able to be there, whose children, she has two, do our programs as well as inclusion services, so she could give them the feel for both ends of that aspect. And then he went and hung out with cruisers for about an hour. It was really great to have him in the program, just interacting with the adults and seeing what it is that we do and why we're there. We were very fortunate to be the recipient of a fundraiser the Bolingbrook Lions Club did. They raised $3,000 for our new autism program and our sensory rooms that we have at camp. So we have some money to spend this year before June comes along. So we have some big plans with that money, some bigger pieces of equipment that we're looking to do to help benefit those kids in the autism program and in our sensory room at camp. The sensory room at camp is really nice if you have a kid that's having a rough day or a kid that does really well for an hour and then needs that break to just be who they are. You can take them to this room. There's different applications, whether it's squishy toys, weight vests, trampolines, different things to help get that energy out or that helps calm them. So these are great funds that we can use to help build our supply. Some of those things are easy to get, some are not, so the money is very helpful. The other thing that we had to face last year is that we had to implement the 28-hour work week per the Affordable Care Act. So that has been working out really well for us. So it was a pretty smooth transition. So we didn't really lose any part-time staff over that either. So they adjusted with the programs they wanted to stick with. We adjusted on our end on how we schedule and look at things. So it's been very nice. A nice highlight, the Knights of Columbus host an annual holiday party for our families. And here are a few award winners. It's the first year that we decided to recognize. On the end is Luke Lambert. He was our participant of the year. He's been with us since he's 8 years old. He's in high school now. So he's our participant of the year. In the middle is Mark and his parents. They were the family of the year. They have since moved to Florida, but Mark has been with the program, the Special Rec Association, again, since he was young. So they, many years here with the Special Rec Association. But their dedication to fundraisers, helping out when needed, getting involved, spreading the word, just a really good family to have in our corner. So on the end is Dom. He's one of our staff. He helped with the beginning of the Adult Day program. He also works Rec Club, which is an after-school program with the Valley View School District. Their transition age, 18 to 21, only has a morning academic day, so we go in and do an afternoon recreation and leisure with them. Teach them how to get to the library, how to get a library card, what do you do when you go to the library, all those fun things. So that educational recreation piece, as well as having some fun. So we're very proud of all of our staff and our families and our participants. So that's why we do what we do. A little update on this year. The office space is always improving now that we've been in it for 6 to 8 months. We're figuring out what it is we need, so doing a few little updates. And again, with the program room, adding the TV, adding little different aspects to it so that we can function a little bit better and do programs a little bit more efficiently. We were very fortunate and very excited to be able to hire another full-time therapeutic rec specialist, Gina Petkus. She was working with us a year prior to that as our coordinator, helping out with inclusion and other things. She's responsible for recruiting staff for specialty programs in camp. She's the one that oversees our autism programs, our Friday Friends, which is our program for the kids that kind of fall through the cracks. She wouldn't look at them and know that they need to be in our special rec programs, but if you have them in a park district program, they wouldn't really be able to have that experience or function in that group without support. So it's kind of for, as we say, those kids that fall through the cracks. Those are hers to do. Children's weekly programs and special events, disability-specific programs, as I talked about, take camp as assigned, as well as summer inclusion support when it gets a little bit busy. She's kind of the secondary to help support Carrie. Her other role is also to schedule out staff. So she's the one that tracks her 28 hours and works closely with the staff on those kind of issues. Cruisers is currently a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday program. We are expanding this summer and offering a second edition of Cruisers, which will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll be splitting the group by ability so that the group that can get out into the community and do a little bit more can go do that and work toward a little more independence, where the other group will need more staff support so that we can focus on them and staff it appropriately so they get a good experience and learn, and also give the other group their independence and be able to learn as well. Inclusion, again, always growing, so we're looking at the best way to make sure everything is seamless and the transitions well, so that all of our inclusion requests are served. Couple fun special events, fishing derby, Polar Express Storytime Trolley, Chicago White Sox, Cubs, and Wolves games are on the schedule for this year. Special Olympic floor hockey is a newer program that we offered. We had max enrollment the first time we offered it, which was awesome. We were very excited. And we also did just get a $500 donation through one of our volunteers in his workplace to get the equipment and a few other things for the program. It's a little bit more expensive, so we were very grateful for that. Disability specific, we spoke with Friday Friends on our Saturday autism programs. Day camps, we had 6 last year, we'll be offering 8 this year. 5 will be housed at Lincoln Elementary School here in Plainfield. Early childhood, 2 kids and 2 teen programs. We'll have 3 new ones in Bolingbrook that will do a middle school, high school, and transition age group. Again, both of them are working in extension with the school in their extended school year program. So. Here's the fun stuff, just pictures of our staff and our participants, whether it's sports, outings, animals, pottery, just some of the fun stuff that we do. And the nice smiles on their face, which are always good. So the picture right underneath the good stuff in the middle, 2 of the girls, that's our Friday Friends group. So independently learning how to play games gives you a snapshot of that. So. And then if you guys have any questions for me about the year.
The inclusion numbers, that we had that drastic increase this year from Plainfield.
Yes.
That's a function of what?
A lot of it is due to the summer programs.
Okay.
Most of our inclusion requests do come through in the summer. I don't know if you guys have in your packet the grid that was sent over. It breaks it down by season, how many requests we have. Usually what we see during the winter, spring, and fall seasons are our preschool programs, your weekend gymnastics, sports programs, your soccer out at the field. Those are the kinds of things we get throughout the school year, but day camp definitely is one of our biggest inclusion
And
numbers.
so is it better advertising this year that we had
I
such a
think
jump?
more people are aware that we have that, and if family has a good experience with it, then they're gonna try other programs with it as well, so. But I think just getting the word, and we have 2 good communities at the end of our SRA, so I think as the word gets out, we will only see that grow.
And you mentioned the issue with the schools last year, limiting the number or the times that we could be in the schools, and yet we're going to have Lincoln Elementary for the day camps in this summer.
Correct.
So we've got all those issues worked out as far as calendar goes?
Well, we'll have 6 weeks again, like we did last year. They're starting, well, usually with the snow days, we kind of run over training and when it starts. And then they start in school a week or 2 earlier. That really only leaves them 2 weeks to get in there and do what they have to do with the school. So what we're going to do this year in the Plainfield one is we're offering an extended week of camp. So we'll pick up in the parking lot of Lincoln, and then every day we'll go out kind of for like a little field trip or community experience. Parents are really missing that extra week, so we thought, how can we accommodate that and still service them and do it, keep them in there. So that was kind of what the staff came up with. So it'll be the first year, and we're excited about it, and we'll see how registration goes for it. So,
Thanks.
thank
So
you.
pretty new to your program, so is the children being charged if you're what's the cost for the children participating in these programs?
There is a charge. Usually what we do is we cover all of our direct costs at 100%. Staffing is subsidized by the tax dollars, because otherwise martial arts program that you may charge $59 for as a park district, you may have to charge $180 if we were going to cover all the staffing, which we can't do. It's not fair, and technically it's against the law. So we try to keep it. We may charge $64 for that program to help cover those, but that's why we get the tax dollars that we do to help subsidize those programs.
So is it normal, disabled children, so we have martial arts classes? Is it normal or?
They could. That was just my example of a program.
Okay.
I mean, they can do that program inclusively. We don't have one that we offer currently in martial arts.
On this chart that you provided us, you have a participant by town, you have Plainfield, Bolingbrook, and others. Who are others?
The other towns that come?
Yeah.
We get some from more of an extension of Joliet. We have Romeoville, we have Naperville, we have Oswego.
But they're not part of the Bolingbrook and Plainfield Park
No.
District. And are they given charge the same amount of money, or they're going to?
Currently they're charged the same amount. They don't currently have a non-resident fee. We like to make it accessible to anybody with a disability who would like to come up to our programs.
So if I have somebody from Chicago that comes to Bolingbrook to participate, we still charge the same amount. Okay, do you, can you provide us with your annual financial report? Do you have a annual financial?
They're
report?
part of the Bolingbrook
Yeah,
Park
it would be
District.
part of the Park District, Bolingbrook Park District one that we can send over.
Okay.
I don't produce a separate one to that.
Our agreement with LCSRA is not a specific special recreation, or traditional special recreation association. We're not a conglomerate of several districts all merging together under one unanimous, or one heading. What it is it's the Bolingbrook Park District, and they form the LCSRA, and we have an intergovernmental agreement for inclusion purposes.
Okay, my question for the taxpayers' purposes, are we recognized that we were, promoting this anywhere in the local or, like I said, people like to know, where their tax dollars are going.
And we have,
Especially, if it's Bolingbrook for us, or if Romeoville, is
we
Romeoville
established-
donating a certain amount of monies?
currently not Romeoville.
Okay.
Romeoville is part of a different SRA currently.
Okay,
Their SRA is in the process of, I think, have they come to determination? They were,
Not that I've heard.
Romeoville is part of Tri-County SRA, which would be composed of Romeoville, Lockport, and Lamont. Lamont Park District is, as of the end of April, is pulling out and going to the C-SPAR SRA with other park districts. So at this time, by SRA rules, or by the SRA legislation, it has to be two park districts merged together to form a SRA. When Lamont Park District pulls out, then there will no longer be the Tri-County SRA because it will be a village and a park district, because Romeoville does not have a park district, they're a part of the village.
okay, so at this point, I'm making it clear is that, for the record purposes, is that Bolingbrook and, Bolingbrook and Plainfield Park Districts are the only sole major groups of,
We are the two that.
Farmers.
Yes,
okay.
currently, yes.
Well, the point is, like I said, you got, the limited cash, and a lot of people don't recognize the limited cash with the different park systems involved.
We try to, that's why we try to keep it, we went with a single logo as opposed to going with each individual's identity. So the single logo, and then on all of our entrances, we have that we are a member of the LCSRA. That's where we put a section in our brochure dedicated to the LCSRA.
But it
that
would
we are
be, like I
supporting.
said, for promotional wines and so it shows the taxpayers that, this is where your monies are going, being funded, to support
The percentage of the ADA tax does go towards that.
Yeah, it's depending on the piece that you get in our brochure, we've got the LCSRA logo and it says part
Well,
of
my
the
point is
Plainfield
still,
Bolingbrook Park District.
to make sure that, the taxpayers are recognized in regards to where their monies are going. And, like I said, if it's not even shown on a bus logo or, top literature, and you have to dig into the file, I said, people are gonna be questioning it, in regards to, is this an actual, affiliate support,
This,
between Bolingbrook and Plainfield.
this name was created when we formed the new SRA because it incorporates Lily Cash runs through.
I follow it, I do, I understand what you're saying.
This replaced JBSRA, which was Joliet Bolingbrook SRA, which we were always a part of, and we were never in the name. So like Carlos said, when this was created, we tried to go neutral. So if other organizations join us in the future, the name can stay.
Well, for,
And we
the
do
point-
have.
well, my point is the importance of the taxpayers, knowing where their tax dollars are. How they get spent.
On the back of our bus, we do have our logo, we do have Bolingbrook and Plainfield's logo on the bottom of that as well. So, we do always, throw over, our fund account, so, I know I always share that with Cheryl, that's over there too, so that's something that's accessible to you via Carla or Cheryl, as well. Feel free to give me a call, if you guys.
It's not like, I need to be involved, just making sure that people are aware, the taxpayers are knowing where their dollars are.
Going back to my question of the people that live out of the district, I don't think it's fair for the taxpayers of our district to be subsidizing somebody else's kid. The kids should be part of the program, but, when there's no, when we can, I know that people from other part of the cities, they can take advantage of our program. So, let's say, for example, I don't know, let's say Donaldsville doesn't have a LSRA, special recreation program. They can send all the kids to the LCRA and take advantage of the program without paying, subsidizing the cost of the program. Are you guys want to try to
change something like that, or?
I did make a note for your comment, something I'll bring to the advisory board, and then that's something that we'll discuss.
I comment here. I think, especially when it showed, you had the graph up there, and for this past year, it showed that where Bolingbrook is and Plainfield has come right up. So it's a pretty good balance of the two. It's not like you have another level of people from